Parliament is expected to debate on constitutional amendments that will allow Malaysian mothers to confer citizenship to their children born abroad. However, other amendments in the proposed bill could have significant consequences on vulnerable groups. Adlyn Adam Teoh from Family Frontiers calls for these amendments to be debated separately to prevent any negative impacts.
This is a long-coming amendment that the mothers have been pushing for, that have campaigned for tirelessly, and it's a long-standing issue, right? This issue has existed since Merdeka, right? So this is something that we're looking forward to, the debate and the voting for this amendment. Now, however, there have been some regressive amendments that have been proposed amendments that have been bundled with this legislative package, and that is very concerning for us. Right, so we would like to reiterate our stance to decouple the amendments because they are fundamentally different in nature. So if this goes together as a bundle, what we will do is we will introduce a whole new list of barriers and risks to vulnerable groups, right? And this would actually undermine national security. Why? Because we will be operating with people who are not in the system. Right? How do you manage and control, people who are not within the system, right? How do we make sure so that these vulnerable groups can operate in society, can contribute? And you have to remember, at the end of the day, it's the children who suffer, right? Because without legal documentation, how can they properly go to school? How can they get the healthcare needs when they need to? Let's really make a proper effort to solve a long-standing issue and not put more barriers and make it harder for us to maintain a just and equitable society.
Adlyn also discusses the impact of some of these proposed changes if Parliament proceeds with tabling the bill in its current form.
It will not bring relief to what is already quite a vulnerable part of society. Right? So there are different categories to that. Number one is children of PRs, right? Now, we're not talking about what you would typically think of PRs, but really people who are living in the interior areas in Sabah and Sarawak, Orang Asal and Orang Asli. These regressive amendments will exacerbate their situation. That's number one. Number two, by reducing the age of qualification for citizenship from 21 to 18, you actually deduct 3 years, right? And many people say, what's the big deal with 3 years? But 3 years means a lot, because this is the time when you can actually prepare all your documents. You don't want applicants to age out, meaning once they hit 18, that's it, your chance is over. Right? And we know that applications take a long time to process. Perhaps you could only go through 2 cycles, right, of citizenship applications, and then you're out. So why are we limiting this, right? Why are we bringing, again, more barriers to people who are just starting their life? So it's really the spirit and the fundamental nature of these amendments. Don't give to one group and take from another.